David Adjaye is a much renowned architect for his interest in expressing the aesthetics and culture of diversity in his architecture. For the Chicago Architectural Biennial, his work was exhibited at the Art Institute. The projects shown are from this exhibition titled Making Place, the Architecture of David Adjaye, and information is from the exhibition catalog titled Forms Heft Material. You may wish to learn more about David Adjaye from the website hhp www.adjaye.com or www.article.edu exhibition David Adjaye Art Institute website. Now, why are we looking at him? I feel he offers a fresh and original way of finding forms. Although David Adjaye is a London-based architect, he has many profound projects in the U.S. and other international locations, including the New Studio Museum in Harlem and the National Museum of African American History and Culture, currently under construction in Washington, D.C., on the Mall. Adjaye was raised in Ghana, the Middle East, and England, and tried to design a global modernism, which some call Afropolitan. To quote Mr. Adjaye, "My practice absolutely believes that architecture is a physical act of social change and the manifestation of it. I believe in architecture as a social force that actually makes good and one that edifies communities. Architecture is about where we are, how we are, and where we want to go. His desire to improve the built landscape with projects that encourage us to re-examine entrenched social rules and modes of behavior." This is a quote from the Art Institute. The exhibition is divided into chapters. Adjaye began his career designing houses, and he tried to avoid a single style, although most of them are quite volumetric and simple. This part of the show is called Living Spaces, Houses, and Artist Studios. The exhibition presents these mostly as white models to accentuate that importance of that variety of spaces. Then public buildings, including libraries, museums, markets, and cultural institutions, are also on the lower level. And recent work, including African American History and Cultural Center in Washington and a pavilion called Horizon, are on the level above. But as architectural students, we can appreciate not only his language, but his use of some basic architectural elements, such as the use of recycled materials, sustainability principles, using screens and covered public spaces, articulating spaces and developing expressive screens that take advantage of bright light to cast provocative shadows, developing skins out of new materials with new technologies, and using rendering techniques that are simple and clear and appropriate for all users to understand. So besides designing large buildings, Adjaye has designed many exhibitions and smaller pavilions and furniture. And we'll be walking through the typical pavilion Horizon, which is later. More of these are visible on his website. Note also the forms and materials of his tables and chairs. Having lived in Harlem for a short time, I can see how, from African Americans, for instance, this is a much appreciated, lively language developed for this special community filled with history, music, and culture. Today, Harlem is one of the first stopping places for African people, and the food, the clothing, and the music is integrated with general American context. This is a good example of how Adjaye thought that architecture should be responsive. He likes it when qualities resonate with the users. As a diplomat's kid, his father was a diplomat, he learned to negotiate differences and understand different cultures. He likes working with creative people because they understand the desire to push further, and they also tend to push him. He particularly likes designing libraries, which he considers an important part of civilization and mankind. Also, he's done some master planning, you can see here, and he's very interested in Africa, which he feels is the population is growing, and he feels it's developing very quickly. If he were to give architects one bit of advice, it might be to learn how to use light. He believes that light, the qualities of light, are related to well-being. Sketches are an important part of Adjaye's process, and he sees this first sketch as the moment of originality. So I think that's useful to consider. And then this is Horizon, built in 2007, and it was positioned in London and Rome. So Adjaye, it's a good example of Adjaye's pavilions, which are structures that are free of many technical requirements and really don't depend on sight as much. You'll notice the music in the background is by David Adjaye, his brother. He likes to use these pavilions and exhibitions as a distillation of concerns as an architect, kind of a point of focus, and to explore how new relationships between people, places, and institutions can be made. This one uses screen-like construction, and the plan is based on two overlapping triangles. You'll notice it's very dimly lit, and it's almost very rugged, kind of rough timber, but actually very carefully detailed.